Okay, so background is this is the memoir of my so-called Chinese mother. Um, at the time of this story, she's living in Manchuria at the end of the Second World War. The Japanese occupiers have just left, and the Soviet army has come in. She is the very unworldly, very pretty 17-year-old-ish daughter of a famous general, has lived in amazing, amazing wealth for her whole life. Um, and this is a story about the Russians, the Soviets, actually.
And the name of the book is?
Tentatively, Little Fat Four, which is her nickname. How one woman survived modern China is the subtitle, but I might change that too. Anyway, this is in her own words. In the first few days after they arrived, the Russians that is, there were no bars, no restaurants. Everywhere was closed and the Russians didn't know what was where. Their headquarters was the building next to ours, with a narrow lane about 2 people wide between them. A car couldn't go down it. I was just a neighbor. The Russians tried to visit other people, but when they approached another family, they all ran away. But I chattered away to them. The Russian soldiers stole eggs and asked me to boil them. I cooked eggs for them, so they came to my house often. In my mind, in my dictionary, there was no enemy, only friendship. I was so bold because I was too young. I knew nothing. In my mind, nothing in the world could hurt me. Nobody could hurt me. Nothing. I just played. I wanted to experience something. I was so happy. I wore bright dresses. When I got scolded by my cousins, I didn't know why. I didn't think I was a young woman. I thought I was a little girl. Maybe that was the problem. If I'd been old enough, I'd have worried about something and I wouldn't have cooked eggs for them or given them alcohol. Too stupid. If I'd been old enough, I wouldn't have had the problem. I wouldn't have had to run away. The first soldier who came was the one who wanted to see the dentist. And then he brought some people with him. I only remember 2 names. One was Sasha and one was Corey. That's all. There were many others, but I don't recall their names. They were quite gentle toward me in the beginning. They had good manners. And then later, one evening, they had a party. I don't know what kind of party. Anyway, they were drunk. And during the banquet, they were talking about me. They said, "Do you dare to go to Eileen and ... You know." Many of them were quiet, but some said they dared not go. They called me a wild cat. When I was angry, I really clawed and scratched. Also, they didn't want to hurt me. I was kind to them. I was their only friend. But Sasha was drunk. He said, "I dare to go tonight." So they made a wager for a banquet. If he came to me, they'd hold a banquet for him. If he dared not come, he'd have to pay for a banquet for them. But I heard this part of the story much later. They let him into our house by himself. They were all outside. I heard the knock at the door. I wasn't asleep. I was in bed already, reading a book, but I heard the door open. Between my room and my father's was a small corridor. I couldn't hear what they were talking about because my room was down a corridor and both doors were shut. But I heard Sasha come in and say something to my parents. And my father called, "Shao Si, come here." That means number 4. He didn't want to talk to the soldier. I think he just wanted to smoke opium. He didn't worry about me. When people grow old, they're stupid. I couldn't believe my father had been a soldier before. He was like a sheep, all hunched over, bah, bah. His eyes were half closed, like a cat when it's sleepy. My parents' room was small and long, and the door was at one end. At the other end was a very big kang, one of those beds they have in North China with heat underneath. And my brother was cowering in the far corner on the kang like a little monkey. My father and my mother were in front of him. I came down the corridor and went into my parents' room to the kang. Sasha came just inside the door and stood in a corner. He dared not come all the way in. He said, "Eileen, Moscow." And my father said, "Eileen." And then he made an eating motion. Sasha said, "I'll feed Eileen with moo, moo, moo." I think they had a lot of sheep or cows. I don't know. We just talked in finger language usually because I didn't understand Russian. Only a few words. I couldn't talk to them. I was really angry because they were quite nice before. Usually he looked nice, but this night, suddenly I thought he was really ugly, like an animal, so rude, red eyes. So of course I gave back the same face. My eyes were flashing and I snarled and we started to quarrel. We didn't understand each other maybe, but we could see from our faces that some bad words were being said. Sasha was still standing in the corner, and suddenly his hand went to his hip, to his gun. It was only for 1 second, not a long time, but I was scared. And when I'm afraid, I can't control my head. I become crazy. I didn't think about what I was doing. I just wanted to do something. I wanted to fight. I didn't worry about it. I jumped down from the Kong in my bare feet and went there and fought for the gun. My arms are short, so if my hand went one way, he turned the other. We turned around. There was nothing in the way, no chair, nothing, just the floor. For a long time I was shouting, yelling, not crying, no tears. I scratched everything I could do. I just wanted to make him angry. Maybe he'd kill me. The only thing I wanted was for him to kill me. Otherwise, if he had what he wanted, what could I do? I wouldn't want to live. So I said, "You kill me, otherwise I'll kill you." I wasn't afraid of dying. I just didn't want him to touch me. So we fought. And then my brother came like a cat and pulled at the hem of my skirt. He pulled me back from Sasha. And oh, he had some things in his hands. Some fruit, cups. So I just threw them overhead at Sasha. One and then another one, everything. And the last was the chamber pot. Nothing was left. Everything was on the floor, even my father's opium pipe. My eyes never left Sasha, so I don't know what my parents were doing. They didn't help me. They did nothing for me. I only remember that my brother helped me. I don't think I really hurt Sasha because he was too far away. When I threw something, it wasn't hard enough, and I wasn't a good fighter. Usually things hit the wall or fell on the floor. But we were very loud. I don't know what I was yelling. I just made a big noise. And then the other soldiers came in because Sasha was shouting, "Help, help!" I didn't know they were outside until then. I don't remember how many, 7 or 8. Some were inside and some were in the corridor. They took me out and showed me the machine gun was on the window. Before Sasha came that night, they took away his machine gun. The old kind of machine gun with a round bullet canister, a heavy one. And they took the bullets out of the small gun at his hips. They showed me the bullets they took out of Sasha's gun. They said, "It's a joke." I said, "That's no joke. If he'd had bullets, I think he would have killed me because he was drunk." So even now, I still remember Corey. He was the one who took out the bullets. He really helped me. I think he knew Sasha very well. When Sasha got drunk, he could do something very bad. So the other soldiers pulled Sasha away. I could hear him singing, shouting, yelling, all the way back to their barracks. At midnight, it was very quiet, so I could hear them singing for a long way. And after everything was quiet, I suddenly felt like I was Aline. I felt human and I started to cry. Before that, I didn't know what I was. Maybe I was a beast. That time I just sobbed and sobbed. You know, angry and frightened are different. When I was angry, I wasn't frightened. I was full of hate. I hated men. I didn't want them to touch me because I thought they were raw meat, dirty. That's what I was thinking. They made me feel like I wanted to throw up my food. I felt there was a dead rat. When I think about men, even now, I think they're raw meat. I want to tear them with my teeth. That's my feeling. Not really frightened. If they kill me, it's nothing. So it's easy for me to stay alone. When I think about men, just hate, you know? The rest of that night, I didn't sleep. And I left the next morning for Beijing. And that's the end of that section.
Wow.
Wow.
That was amazing.
Her whole story is just amazing.
Wow.
Incredible woman.
The part where her brother shows up, that was a shock. Especially
Yeah.
where he has fruit.
Yeah. And the ending, the end. Men want to meet.
Yeah,
The
she,
voice as you capture it is really so good.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was. I was absolutely riveted the whole time.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah.
She was a great storyteller. She really was. You know, a lot of people tell their memoirs and they're very dull, but she had a lot of color in her stories.
Mm-hmm. I
It was
like the way
definitely
she
not dull.
described her naivete.
What's
The-
that?
The distinction between thinking of herself as a little girl and the gaze of the soldiers being different.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very relatable.
It is.
Yeah. I want this book to get published.
Oh, I know. I have got to stop feeling sorry for myself and do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.